welcome everybody to the first video for our Shadesmere division for VDL Season 1. I'm joined here with our league owner, Bissell. Bissell, how are you?
I'm doing good, thank you, B-Dog.
Alrighty, we're going to make this nice and easy. We're going to do live reactions to each of the teams. We're going to go through and we're going to, from a scale of 1 to 5, rank different categories that we're going to take a look at to try to differentiate some of the teams. We're going to be looking at their offense, their defense, their hazards, team synergy, looking at some of their Terra captains. We're going to rank all of those out of 5, and then once we get through them all, we'll have scores out of 30, and we'll go ahead and be able to, based off of our scores, we'll be able to get a tier list going for you guys, and we should be able to see at least post-draft how some of these teams are looking and seeing how this division's going to play out just from a team build standpoint. This doesn't have anything to do with the coaches. Coaches can obviously make all the difference. They can make a good team bad and make a bad team good. So we're just going to be looking at the teams, getting some live reactions. Alrighty, Abyssal, let's get into this.
Alrighty.
Alright, first comes first, we got low tier trash, coached by our buddy JJ. With the first pick, we got Skarmory picked up. Overall, and our first team is going to be low tier trash, coached by our buddy JJ. With the first overall pick, he went ahead and grabbed the defensive juggernaut Skarmory, in addition to quite a few strong members on his team. So out of curiosity, Abyssal, what's the first things you see with this team?
Honestly, I see that it really is lacking in terms of speed. Really the only Pokemon it has that are decently fast are Rapidash and Tauros. And Tauros is the only one that actually is... I mean, not to say Rapidash is bad, but Tauros is very solid. So at least they have that going for them. They also do have an insane range of hazards going for them, which will help with that speed. They have every hazard under the sun, quite literally, because Zoroark is one of the hazards.
Yeah, so I think if I could jump in here, I think he just went for straight bulk. He's basically like, his team is basically, I don't care how slow I am, it's going to be so hard to remove me. And I say that with just his first 3 picks, having the defensive juggernaut Skarmory, and then drafting 2 Intimidate Mons right afterwards, it's just...
Oh, for sure.
That is just absolutely crazy, in addition to Parting Shot with Incineroar, and technically he does have Sticky Webs with Shuckle if he really wanted to, where his Rotom Frost and maybe even his Garbodor will be able to outspeed some of those upper tier Mons.
Yeah.
But I will say I do think I am to the point where I think his overall offense is a little bit lacking in that department. I think this is definitely more of a defensive team.
Yeah.
So if I was to sit here and look at offense with 1 being low, 5 being high, and 3 being middle of the road, I would probably put this at maybe, you're looking at your special attack is averaging out about 73, your attack averaging out at 84, though you have to...
I'd give it a 2, personally.
I was about to say 2, because I was about to say, I do know Shuckle does bring down those attacks quite a lot, but I do think he's just under that, right under that mid-tier.
And then look at dedicated offensive Pokemon like Tauros, Ampharos, and Rapidash. Between Tauros and Ampharos, those 2 are both very solid in terms of offense. Rotom Frost is obviously going to help with that. Palossand for a defensive Pokemon also, it hits pretty hard. But the issue is just that it's their offense.
Yeah, so I'll probably agree with you. I think 2 out of 5 is totally fair for offense.
Alrighty. In terms of defense,
I don't know. If there was a defensive team, you're sitting there. What is that? 2, 4, 6, 8. 8 of his 9 Mons having toxic. He had.
Yeah.
I don't know. For me, this seems like if there was a 5 on just straight defense, this would probably be it.
I think I'd agree to that. Even looking at the raw stats, 112 average defense is ridiculous, especially in low tier.
Well, you got to include, even with that defense, you got 2 Intimidate Mons.
So, oh yeah, so low tier is also very populated with a lot of physical Pokemon, strong physical Pokemon. So having good defense is really, really important, I feel.
Yes.
So just because of that, I think that they really nail the defense.
So I would
I
say
think
the only critique, right, and I could just say this real quick, the only critique I would have is he's very good defensively on the physical side. On the special side, he doesn't really have that dedicated special wall, as really you're looking at, like, I mean, Mega Ampharos and Rotom's going to be your main defense mons. A lot of the other mons you're looking at, you know, you're looking at between 70, 80, 90, you're looking in that range. So that would be,
I mean, it's not bad.
That would be my only case to putting it down to 4, but I still think his overall just straight defense. If you have a defensive team, you're not gonna. I don't see how you're getting through this team. So you're gonna have to go specially. I think just for that it should be 5.
I think that, but the other thing I'm kind of noticing now is that they have, I think, only one Pokemon with self-healing, being Holosand. So everything else has to rely on leftovers. Actually, I think Rapidash gets Wish. I might be wrong. That will help with that as well.
I don't know. I just if there's any team for 5, I think this is 5.
I would totally agree to that, honestly.
Yeah, totally.
Even with like those issues, I think it's probably 5.
All right, utility. Let's see. We got pivoting. Let's see. We got 2 taunt mons, 2 knockoff mons. Pivoting is a little bit lacking, though. Parting Shot is there.
Well, Parting Shot. The issue is they have 3 pivoting Pokemon, and 2 of them are instant. Of the 3 moves, Zoroark has 2 of the pivoting moves.
Yeah, and then the other one's just straight full switch.
So like a ground type really hurts their pivoting. I think Zoroark might get teleport as well that you don't have on there.
Yeah.
But teleport's obviously kind of hard to run, especially on Zoroark, which isn't as defensive, so it gets hit pretty hard by knock.
Yeah. I think it's a little below average. I think it's a little bit below what you want. I'd probably put it at 2.
Especially in like Nat decks where like a lot of Pokemon lose stuff like Toxic, knockoff, and such.
Yeah.
That being said, they do have good Pokemon to use Thunder Wave and Will-O-Wisp. So that, but I feel like that's still kind of average there.
Yeah,
so maybe,
I think I would want to put it at 3 for the status moves and put it just average, but I think the lack of momentum could I think he has the defenses to really to make up for the lack of momentum. I just think how valuable momentum is. I'd probably put this right below average at 2. You can convince me for 3.
Yeah, I think I can agree to that.
I think it's right at that borderline of 2 or 3.
There's nothing like notable that I think makes it up to that 3. I think everything is just kind of average, but then the lacking of the pivoting kind of takes it down a notch.
Yep, and now we got our Terra Captains in Garbodor and Shuckle. As much as I love Shuckle,
Garbodor actually is a pretty solid Terra Cap.
I would agree. I would agree. I simply just feel like what is? I mean, I guess Shuckle could have some shenanigans, getting a more defensive typing and doing, you know, power splits and setting up. No, I don't think it can.
Part of the thing that does make Shuckle a little bit easier to break than it's intended to is its typing. So being able to change that really does help.
Yeah,
like if you want to run Air Steel.
Yeah, I will say I definitely think he is going more. I think both his Terras are going to be used more defensively than offensively. Which I don't hate. I do love the balance of having one mon that you can go a lot more defensive with, but having one mon just that really helps it punch through holes. I'm sitting at the 2 to 3 mark.
I think I give it 3 just because I think Garbodor is a really solid Terra Captain.
I like it. Let's go 3. Cool. And then we got hazards, which this is going to be hazard setting in addition to hazard removal. So the
I think.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I think they have incredible hazards. I would, if it was just looking at the hazard setting, I would give them a 5 easy. But the lack of rapid spin, I think, takes me down to a 4.
I was about to make that exact point. I love his hazards. But the fact that your only removal is defog, which is going to just take away your own hazards, I feel like a rapid spinner would have been glorious on this team. So with that being said, I do think that knocks it down to a 4. I think for hazard setting, he's 5. He has everything, and he has multiple mons for practically everything except for a Toxic Spike and Sticky Webs. But I definitely feel...
no, he has both.
No, he does. He only has 1. He only has 1, though. I'm saying he has multiple for all of them.
Okay, yeah, I see. Okay, no, yeah, I see.
Yeah. So I definitely think his hazard setting is a 5. I do think the lack of a rapid spin.
And like Armory is one of the best setters in low tier in general.
Yeah.
As well.
Yeah. So
I think that's an easy
Yeah, I definitely think 4 is a good spot
With
for it.
yeah, with as good of a hazard setting he has, he really wants those rapid spinner to help keep the head.
Yeah,
So
if he had one rapid spinner, I would absolutely love this. All right,
100%, yeah.
now let's look at some synergy. The only thing we can notice is, again, we were talking about the lack of a rapid spinner. He is pretty weak to rocks, in addition to having a decent water weakness. With that being said, he does get water compaction with one of his weaknesses, so at the same time, that's kind of like net neutral.
The issue is Palisand really wants to be able to Terra to be able to take those water moves.
Yeah. In addition to that, I mean, you hit one of his Terra captains is weak to water, so so it's kind of like a net neutral for there as well.
Up in the air. Terra Water Shuckle also is pretty solid.
Yeah. So I think overall, the synergy is not bad. I think
I just don't think it's good either.
No, I am thinking middle of the road, if not maybe a little bit. I mean, you're very strong. Your dragons, your fairies, you're not super weak to ground.
I don't love
He's not
the Dragon
super
Fairy
weak
Steel
to.
Core.
Yeah, it is a bit lacking.
But like Dragon Fairy Shield Core isn't super important. He doesn't have a Fire Water Grass Core at all.
No.
Um.
Yeah, the lack of
I
really
do
feel
love
like
the Fire Water
I do feel like a grass type like a Serena or something would have been perfect on this team.
Something with a higher special defense.
Yeah. So I think I could put it at either right at average, like low average, or like upper just below, like right in between. I would put that at damn 2.5. I don't.
You know what? I could do a 2.5.
Do we want to go for 2 points? We can do points. That's fine. I'm fine with that.
Yeah. I feel we don't do like a 2.2 or 2.4.
Well, you know what? If that's the case, hear me out. If that's the case, let's throw hazards up to 4.5.
4.5? Yeah. I can agree with that.
And I think everything else is fine.
So adding that all up, that'll
geez,
be
math,
4, 9, 12, 16.5, 17. That'll be 19. I think
that's
that
19 out of 30.
Yeah. I would put the... Okay, just double checking my math. 10, 12... Yeah, 19. Cool.
Alrighty, that's going to be low tier trash. Let's go ahead and move on to the Twilight Defenders. And that is the low tier trash, coached by JJ. Next up, we have the Chicago White Sox. Off the top of my head,
coached
I
by
do not
Brad
remember
the
this
Best.
coach. Yep, there we go, Brad the Best. There we go. Let's just do a quick overview. With the second pick Noivern. We got quite a few high tier mons that are looking very nice to me. Anything that necessarily sticks out to you immediately?
I wouldn't say anything like immediately sticks out to me. Just by looking at the team. Honestly, I really like their initial 2 Pokemon with Crook and Noivern.
Yep.
And then everything else looks more like supportive for them.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's jump into these categories here. Let's see. I'll go ahead and start off with our offense. Let's see. We got an average base attack of 74. Special attack is 86.
With your offensive Pokemon being Crocodile, Noivern, Overquill, Grumpig, Starmies kind of support.
Yeah, I mean your main offense is gonna be really your Noivern and Crook and Overquill is really going to have to carry a lot of this offense.
Grumpig is also gonna be pretty offensive, I think.
Yeah.
Call mindsets.
Yeah, it's gonna be more setup. Yeah. I definitely think I don't think this is crazy by all means. I don't think this is also middle of the ground. I would probably put this right above middle of the ground.
Honestly, I might say this is an even 3 personally. I don't think there's anything crazy going on. I don't think they're below average either.
I think my biggest thing, I can say here right now, I think that my biggest thing is your fairy type being Shinotic. I would have really loved a more offensive mon to pair with Noivern and Cobalion. And so I'll say 3. I'll agree with 3. I'll put it right in the middle of the road. Alright, if you want to go ahead and let's look.
Defensive on the other side, I feel they're a lot stronger in that field. Jellicent, Shinotic, Sparkle, even Cobalion a little bit. Those are all very good defensive Pokemon, I feel. And Crook obviously has Intimidate options.
Yeah, I mean, to Intimidate mons,
also.
you got Strength Sap with Jellicent. You got it. I really like the defensives. The only critique I probably have is fairy types. Do go quite a bit ham here, especially into
their offensive Pokemon, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you have Cobalion, which is one of your steel types, which doesn't resist
But it's
fairy
also
with
neutral to
fighting.
parry.
Exactly, and then Magneton is one of your Terra Captains, and then, I mean, your only other fairy resist, it would be Karkle, which is
Yeah.
a Karkle.
And also it's a Terra Cap.
Yeah,
Yeah, when both your resist to fairy are Terra Caps, that is a little iffy. That being said, in low tier, there aren't a lot of great fairy types.
yeah, I'd probably put this. I don't think this is quite as good as JJ's from the
Definitely not as
last
good as
one.
JJ's.
I think of a solid 4 would be a fair spot here. If not,
I might
maybe
say 3.5.
I can go for 35.
Alright. Utility. So we're looking at pivoting. Okay, their pivoting options do look very solid. They got 4. And then 1 knockoff user, but they have 6 taunt users? Wow, okay. And their hazards are also kind of ridiculous.
We're not on hazards yet. That's its own category.
No, we're talking about utility.
Hazards is its own thing. Yo.
Did I say hazards? I was talking about
did
utility.
Say hazards. But
I mean, I was talking about pivoting.
yeah, but I will say, but I do agree with you. The pivoting is quite good. Quite a few mons. I think the utility, he has quite a few Thunder Wavers in addition to 2 Will-O-Wisps. Toxics on the whole team. The only thing I probably wish this team had is maybe another 1 or 2 knockoff users.
Yeah,
to really
I would
punish,
agree with that.
to really punish those running heavy-duty boots against this team. I'd probably put this. This is probably right at a 3-4 range for me. What do you favor?
I might give this a 4. I think just with how many options they have for hazard, and just they have really good momentum too.
I like it. Let's go for it.
And then also, as I'm putting this down, Crocodile is almost always gonna be running knockoff, and it's gonna be kind of monster becoming everything.
No, yeah,
They're
no,
almost always
100%, 100%. All right, let's see. Terra Captains. We got Terra Captain Magneton. I love Magneton Terra. Karkle is just one of those. Hey, I got the points. Let's go for it. Technically, could probably run some shenanigans Steam Engine, but I mean,
yeah,
really.
Or Flash Fire.
Really gonna
Terra Steel Flash Fire.
Yeah, and then Grumpig is.
And then Grumpig is ridiculous.
Yeah, Grumpig is gonna be annoying, especially for the point value. Is that?
I would not give their Terra Caps anything lower than a 4. I might even give them a 5 personally.
I wouldn't go for 5. I think a 4.5 is the range for me.
It's Grumpig and Magneton, I think, are the ones that they're using most of the time.
100%. I would say 100%.
I think I'm gonna go for a 4. I feel like the lack of speed could make like speedy Terra Captains could make it a bit better, but they're all kind of on the lower side.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. All right, let's see. Hazards. We kind of talked about hazards is really good. Hazard removal is very good.
Removal is very good. Actual hazard, they have.
I mean, only thing they don't have is webs. You have multiple ones.
That being said, they're also using Overquill for a Key Spike Center.
Yeah.
Which is, obviously you can not awful.
Yeah, I think this is more of a flip side for our last team where the hazards are a little bit have a little bit more to be desired, but the removal kind of makes up for it. I think this is a solid 4 in my opinion.
4. Yeah, I can agree with that.
All right. And then
synergy.
I mean, we
kind of
have.
talked on this earlier. Like, I kind of said that it could be better.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is obviously 2 of your 4 times weaknesses to ground is going to be your Terra Captains. So I don't think it's that bad, but at the same time, that is still because your only resistance to
they
ground
only have
is going to be
1
Cyanotic.
resist and an immunity. Yeah,
so I don't think it's that bad. So I think that wraps up most of what we got here. What score do you think? What are you thinking?
Honestly, I would give it a 2 or a 3, personally.
I would be fair for it too. I think it's quite nice. I'll put at it.
Overall, I think it's 12. Let's say 20.5 out of 30.
All right, going to one of the mid drafts of here. We got the Twilight Defenders. All right, let's see. We got a round 1 Slitherwing. We got Blastoise, Delphox. We got Vantula for some webs. We got nice Intimidator. Terra Blossom, always fun. Though we cannot. No, we can Quiver Dance when we Terra.
Yes, we can.
We can Quiver Dance. So a very, very offensive, scary Terra Blossom with a Paliswine, Hakumo, O, and Abra to fill in that last spot. All right, let's see. Obviously, this is your team, so you're gonna be a little bit biased. So I'll take over a little bit more than the rest of these teams.
Yeah, you do most of the talking.
So let's see. For offensively, I love Slitherwing. Slithering is just damn Slithering. Blastoise is usually more defensive, though it does get.
It can be offensive because Shell Smash is legal.
I know, but we do have Shell Smash. So that could be some fun shenanigans. Delphox, Quiver Dance, Terra Blossom, I think is pretty damn crazy. I would probably say this is one of those teams that have those mons that don't have to set up, that are just immediately threatening, in addition to having multiple threatening setup sweepers. I would definitely think this is a easy 4 for me.
All right. I think that's pretty fair.
And then defensively, I honestly wish I could see more. I mean, Blastoise is going to be your main defensive mon. Besides that, obviously, we have our Cofagrigus, which is also going to be very defensive, very good. Let's see. Besides those two, there's obviously Slitherwing is quite bulky on the special side. Slithering with an Intimidate mon with Quillfish is quite good as well. I don't think this is bad.
Pilot Sign's also fairly defensive.
Yep, because it's gonna. Get out of here. But yes, with Eviolite, it is gonna be very defensive. I don't think this is quite a 5. But I would sit here with a 4. Okay. I think would be absolutely fair.
Wow. Okay. I mean, I'm not gonna complain. I personally don't think it's that good. But, I wish my defense was a little bit better.
Well, I was gonna say here, I was between a 3 and a 4. I was leaning more for a 4. So technically, actually, if you want to go down to 3.5, you convinced me. Go down to 3.5. I forgot we do the points.
I think that's more fair.
Let's see. Utilities. We got. Let's see. We have 3 mons that get. Momentum. We got 2 knockoff users, one of them being Abra. We got 3 taunt users, one of them being your Terra Captain, which is going to be usually offensive Hakamo'o. And then again, Abra, Toxicon everything, got quite a few status mons. I think for the lack of momentum, especially with some of the mons that you have to be able to position properly.
Momentum's on the same level as it was for JJ.
Yeah, I was gonna absolutely agree. What did we do? We did, we did 2. So I think 3 is fine for this. I think 3 is fine.
Okay.
I think 3 is fine.
Yeah, I'm kind of looking at this. I'm kind of shocked that Quillfish doesn't get knockoff.
Honestly, that'd probably be busted on it though, but you know. All right, let's see.
Yeah.
Terra Captains. I mean, Terra Quiver Dance Blossom is going to be one of your most threatening Terra Captains. That's one of those things where you're always going to have to prep for. I would have loved to see a reliable Sunsetter that you'd be able to boost that chlorophyll. That would be fun.
I did originally have Key on this team, and then I didn't love how the team looked with Sun, so I kind of stepped away.
Yeah, it would have been definitely fun. I would have loved to see a chlorophyll Blossom with Quiver Dance. But again, it's still Blossom. It's something you're going to have to watch out for every single time. And then you got Hakamo'o, which I think it gets Gengars skills, right?
I don't think it does. I think that's a Komo'o move.
Oh, it's Komo'o. I mean, even though it's still Komo'o, I mean, you're sitting with... I think Blossom is definitely your Terra Captain every single damn week. Realistically,
yeah,
I don't see
Hakamo'o. It might be one very niche week where Hakamo'o is.
Yeah, but so I definitely think if Hakamo'o was like a little bit faster, you could do some more fun niche things kind of to do.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, obviously you are gonna have Eviolite body press. Terra fighting is gonna be quite fun. So I mean, I guess that's probably the only thing I really see.
Can also drop the fairy weakness.
Yeah, but so I definitely think the Terra Captains. I think Blossom is doing a lot of heavy lifting. I think of all the teams so far, I think these are my favorite. I'd probably put this at a solid. Let me see. What was the Sawks we had at 4? I'd probably put this at a 4.5. If Hakamo'o was more of a I think a more reliable Terra Captain in terms of being able to take away from Blossom and kind of be used more. I think it would have been a 5. I think Blossom very easily carries that 4.5.
Mm-hmm. That's super good.
So all right, let's see.
Kind of incredible.
Yeah, hazards. We have our Hisuian Quillfish. Hazard setting is. I definitely wish I saw more. Saw another rocker besides Paloswine.
That's something I always struggle with in drafting, frankly.
Yeah, your spikes users are not bad. Obviously, you have Quillfish, which you can always double spike, and then you got Toxic Spike with Cofagrigus, which the fact that Cofagrigus does get spikes is kind of weird, but it gets Toxic Spikes. There's
not a lot of Pokemon that get spike
Yeah.
Pocket spikes, but not spikes.
And then you got Galvantula for your webs. I definitely think your hazard setting is decent. I have to take you down points. I know you have Rapid Spin on Blastoise, but that being your only hazard
I only have the one.
is gonna knock you down. I'd probably put this at a... If there was better hazards, I would put this middle of the road. I think the fact that you have middling hazard setting and then you have even less removal, I'd probably put a 2.
Yeah, I think that is entirely fair. That is one where my draft very much struggles.
And then for synergy, I'm gonna be hard on you here. I mean, you look decent with the type chart. I mean, let's just look at the type chart. You look pretty decent for the first half, and then once you hit the second half, you're just getting smacked. But some of that is skewed because obviously you have Hakamo-O being your only dragon weakness. You don't have resist, but I mean, you only have one weakness. Rocks, you have Delphox and Galvantula being weak to rocks. I don't know, I wish I didn't see that many, but again, I will say it is skewed, and again, you do have your Terra Captain and Hakamo-O, which is going to be 4 times fairy weakness, so that is skewed a bit. I don't think it's that bad. I think the more defensive synergy is better for you than your type synergy. I'd probably put this at, I'd say a 2.5. I'll probably say right under
That seems fair, I think.
Right under. I wish I saw more of the more reliable fairy weakness.
So adding that up, that's 7, 10.5, 15, 17, 19.5. Cool.
Alrighty, moving on. We got the Northern Snipers.
1 second. I am going to move into a different.
And that's it for your team, Abyssal. Let's go ahead and jump to the next team. We got the Northern Snipers, coached by
Venice.
There we go, with the squishies. Round 1, Cleavor with Wochen, Earthworm, Gardevoir, Muck, Gastrodon, Terra Kabuskin, Emolga, Regice, Terra Drifloom, and Stantler. Alrighty. So let's go ahead, quick overview. Pros, cons, what you see?
I really like the first overall pick. Cleavor is just ridiculous. Also, we do have to consider it when thinking about hazards later.
100%. 100%.
Yeah. Other than that, I don't see anything that really jumps out to me.
Yeah, I think there's just a lot of solid picks here. We'll get into more details as we're going through this, so let's actually start with that. We got our offense. Sorry. Let's see. You got Cleavor, which is always a menace. Wochen is definitely more defensive. Earthworm is more defensive. Gardevoir is a big attacker. Muck is more defensive. Gastrodon is more defensive. Combuskin is Combuskin. Emolga.
Emolga's kind of support.
Interesting. Regice is Regice. You got Drifloom. I will definitely say this team definitely lacks. I mean, looking at it outside of Gardevoir and Cleavor, there's no immediate offense whatsoever.
Combuskin's the next one, but it's, 4 points? Something like that. And then, yes, it is a Terra Cap, but still, it's not super great in terms of stats. Because you don't really want to run a Violet on it, either.
Yeah. So, I mean, I will say this...
Oh, Drifloom. Drifloom is definitely offensive.
I mean, it's offensive, but it's not more immediate compared to...
it requires a little bit of setup.
Yeah, so, I mean, I think for that, I definitely think this is below average.
Also, it's kind of on the slower side. Both Cleavor and Gardevoir want to run Scarf most of the time.
Yeah.
Which is another knock against it, I think.
Yeah, I would agree 100%. So, with that being said, I definitely think that does knock it down a bit. I think this is going to be below average. I definitely think this is a more defensive team. I think the offense, this is actually a 2, maybe even a 1.5 for me. And that might be harsh on my end. But the fact that, I mean, you have 2 offensive
I kind of like
mons
1.5.
I'm down for it. Go for it. I just think the biggest thing against the offense is just you have Cleavor and Gardevoir, which are good. Yeah, which are good mons, but with the speed tier they're at, you just lack that. There's just that immediate offensive pressure is just lacking with this team.
You're gonna have to give me a sec. My browser decided to stop working.
That sounds about right. Which while that's doing that, let me go ahead and just start talking about the defense.
Yep. I can still see it. I just can't.
Yeah, no, I get you. Defense is definitely the defense is definitely gonna be a lot better than the offense. You got Wochen, which is damn Wochen. Earthworm being a very good defensive mon. You got Muck and Gastrodon being staples in terms of defensive mons. Drifloom can always be run defensively, especially with its with it being Terra Captain, Regice's. Damn, Regice is obviously very good in stats, except for its typing is going to be hindering it. But I mean, I think the defense is there. I really like their defense. The only thing that's hurting the defense is, I mean, you have all these really good defensive mons, and then there's, you know, you have your Combuskin, which is going to drop your overall stats. You got your Emolga having base 60 in both defense and special defense. Stantler gets Intimidate, so you have that going for you, but again, it does get Eviolite, which, I mean, you probably want to run Eviolite on Stantler every time it comes.
Mm-hmm.
So I definitely think that it has its defensive mons, and it has its more frail mons.
I think their defense is way stronger than their offense.
100%. I would probably sit here at a... I'm in between a 3 and a 4. I'd probably be more leaning towards a 4, just because, I mean, you...
Honestly, yeah, I'd agree to that.
I would just say, take just the top 6, and just the defense you have there is just nuts. I definitely think a 4 is fitting. And alright, with your browser issues, I'm just gonna jump in. What did we say? Offense was a 2 and offense is 1.5, yeah. And then defense,
was
4.
a 4.
Let's see, utility, we have Emolga, we have three momentum moves, and Emolga's 2 of them. And then obviously you have your stab U-turn with Cleavor. I know Drifloon gets Baton Pass, technically. I think Stanley gets Baton Pass too.
I think you're correct. I know Drifloon also gets Baton Pass.
Now this team does get multiple Trick Room users. In addition, has a shit ton of Thunderwave users, have 3 Will-O-Wisp users. Nearly everything gets Toxic. Your knockoff you're hitting with 5 mons that get knockoff, 4 mons with Taunt. The utility, I think, on this team's the momentum is definitely lacking, but all the utility moves that's not momentum is crazy. I think we definitely have to deduct for the lack of momentum. But again, I think the defense does make up for it. I'm sitting at around 4. Do you think a little bit lower, a little bit higher?
It did finally load, so I'm just doing a quick scan. Their knockoff and hazards, I think, really do carry them a lot here, and they obviously have some really good setters, especially with Cleavor. I'm jumping around. Pivoting is lacking.
Yeah, like I said, pivoting's a little bit lacking, but I think everything else in terms of utility, you think 3-5?
Yeah, the lack of having 2 pivot mons, one being Emolga, is really not great.
I'll take that. Okay, Terra Captains, we got Combuskin, Drifloon, Stantler. Stantler's going to be defensive Terras. With Eviolite, defensive Terra, you're sitting there pretty. Drifloon being able to Terra, you always got your weakness policy set. Drifloon is always so fun as a Terra. I love Drifloon as a Terra.
Drifloon is really good, both offensive and defensive Terra as well.
Exactly. And then you have Combuskin,
which is a more offensive Terra.
Yeah, so, I mean, there's plus and minuses for these. I think Drifloon does do heavy carry, and then Stantler's defensive presence.
My team.
Yeah, but I feel like Stantler's defensive presence definitely warrants some more points for it. What did we do?
Drifloon doesn't do quite as heavy carrying as Blossom, I think.
Yeah, I think I'll sit here at a 3.5 or 4. What's your overall?
I think we can get a 4. Drifloon is kind of incredible in general.
Yeah, I love Drifloon. All right, and then hazards, we got 3 Stealth Rock users, and obviously you have the immediate Stone Axe rock setting with Cleavor. You got 2 Spike users. You got Toxic Spikes with Muck. You got Gastrodon that can sometimes come in and just do hazard some weeks with, Scald. I really like the hazard setting. You got 4 Defog mons, and then you don't have a Rapid Spinner.
Yeah. I don't think this is as bad as JJ's team.
JJ's team was very good in terms of...
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's what I'm saying.
It's plus and minuses with JJ's. I definitely think
they got more removal, but they got less hazards.
Yeah, I am definitely in the 3.54 range. I don't know how much we want to hinder them for a lack of Rapid Spinner.
Rapid Spinner, okay, because they don't have as many, setters. Actually, I think we do have to deduct a little bit because of Cleavor. Cleavor is going to be running Stone Axe every week.
Yeah, which, I mean, then again, I mean, it runs it, and always, if you lose Stealth Rocks, you're going to be able to get it up. It's not like it's a move where you're going to lose a turn doing it.
I will also say real quick that, looking at their defoggers, one of them is Cleavor, then we have Combuskin. Both of those are never running defog.
No, I guess that's fair. I'm probably at a 3.5 or 3. What's your thoughts? I don't think I'd put this up at a 4.
I think we can do 3.5. I think that's fairly reasonable.
All right, team synergy wise, you're a very weak to rocks.
Fire's also kind of bad.
Fire hits the team for quite a lot. You have,
and then one of those resists being Combuskin.
Yeah. Let me see. Besides that, let's see. I think those are. I mean, you're neutral against a lot of types.
Yeah.
The rock and fire weakness, I think, are big weaknesses.
100%.
Um,
Fire is the best offensive type in draft.
yeah, I'd probably put this at a 2.5. What's your thoughts on that?
I do think I do kind of want to consider the synergy between Pokemon here, because this is one of the teams I look at and I see a little bit more synergy than I do on other teams. Like, just some teams you just look at like, yep, that team has synergy. This is one of those teams, I think.
Yeah, I definitely think that makes up for its weaknesses. Like, the way they're able to cover the weaknesses, I don't think we should deduct it too much. I think it's just below average, just with the just with some of the weaknesses.
I'd say 2.5.
Alrighty. Which puts us at an overall. That's a lot of decimals. Let's do 1 second.
Give me a second.
Stand by.
5, 9, 13, 16.5, 17, 19.
And we got 19 out of 30. Alright, let's move along. Almost halfway there. We're on to our Lavender Town Gengars.
And I can't edit again.
It's fine, I got it. Alrighty, which we got. This was the absolute randomized team by Waffle. That's why, as you see, the Terra.
It was very fun to watch in draft, I will say.
Oh, it definitely was, but that's why you have your Terra Swadloon as the second pick. I mean, you got Sylveon. You're missing the really big steel type that you love having, but you got a very good dragon and you got a very good fairy. You got probably a top 3 fairy mon in low tier. With Sylveon.
Sylveon, I might even say the best.
Oh,
wait,
no,
it has 2 of the best. They have 2 of the best fairies in low tier.
Oh yeah, a low 9 tails too. No, yeah. So I think the offense. I think this team does have that immediate offensive pressure. Especially, I won't even say let's ignore weather in terms of the snow, but even rain. Having your Swift Swim Kingdra pairing with Politoed.
I mean, you can't really ignore snow because of Aurora Veil.
Yeah, which goes more into defensive, but I do think the immediate offensive pressure, especially as we know how little fairy types are in good fairy types are in low tier, and the fact that you got 2 of the best, I think,
and they both have offensive potential as well.
Yeah, and I think that makes up for your Pukumuku picks and your Sudowoodo picks. I think the offense is. I don't think it's
also is incredible.
Oh, 100%, absolutely. I do not think we put this. I don't think we put this at a 5. I think we do have to deduct. Obviously, you have a Braixen, you got a Sudowoodo, there's a Pukumuku, you got Eradicate. I definitely think this is probably right at a. I think this is a even 4.
Yeah, I'll say that because their offense is also on the slower side just a little bit. If you ignore Rain, Swift, and Kingdra.
Yeah. Alright, and then we got the defense.
We got Swadloon, Politoed.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like you have your defensive mons that are going to be your defensive mons.
Their defense is lacking, I think, pretty significantly.
No, I would definitely say. I mean, you're being hurt by the Swadloon. You got a Vivillon. I mean, you got a Braixen. You got a Pukumuku. I mean, how much are those going to do? I mean, obviously,
Politoed and Sylveon are both pretty solid defensively, but that's about it.
Yeah, I mean, this is something where this team is like 1-2, pick a few that are good, and then it's just being weighed down heavily by some of the other ones.
And obviously defensive, once again, Aurora Veil. But, yeah.
Yeah, I'd probably put this. I'd argue it's below average. I'd probably sit around a 2.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna say lower than that.
Really?
Because they have 2 good defensive Pokemon, but once again, that's it.
I'll be fair. I mean, your defensive mons are Pukumuku and Sudowoodo are going to be like your straight defensive mons, and every time they get brought, they're going to be defense. I mean, those are going to be only really.
Politoed and Sylveon are their better defensive Pokemon here.
I'm more so saying they're straight just defense mons. But obviously Sylveon and Politoed are very good defensively as well. I'll give them that. I think the fact
Sylveon's very flexible. It can do.
I think Sylveon and Politoed being there is the only reason I wouldn't duck it down. So I think 1.5 is fair. Utility, we have for some reason quite a few. Momentum.
Sylveon does get Baton Pass as well as does Alolan Ninetales.
Yeah, and then we got the only thing
I think Braixen might too.
Yeah, the only thing that we're lacking here is you got decent momentum. The statuses are lackluster to say the least, except for Toxic. Obviously, damn, everything gets Toxic. But your T-Wave user and Will-O-Wisp user, I mean, your Will-O-Wisper is Braixen.
And then we don't have a single knockoff user at all.
Yeah, I definitely think this is below average. I'd sit around a 2. What do you think?
I feel like we had another team that was kind of on par with this, but worse. But this is worse than that. I'm trying to remember which mode it was.
Is this sitting at a 1.5 as well?
I think so. I think JJ's was at a 2, and I think this is worse than JJ's.
Alrighty, then we got a Terra Captains. I absolutely love the Flapple, but I'm sorry, what the hell does Raticate and Swallow do? And
it's got Terra normal facade guts.
That could technically cook you. Actually, with decent speed tier, I mean, you got that right. It's not gonna lift shit, but I mean, maybe it's just a nuke. And then, I mean, the Swallow. I don't think the Flapple carries that much. I think this is probably right at middle of the road for me. I don't think. I don't know. I'm probably thinking a 2.53.
I think 2.5 is a little bit more reasonable. Flapple, it kind of relies on one turn of the Terra turn to set up.
Yeah.
So it comes down to a little bit of a predict there.
Alright, and then hazards. Well, I mean, let's be real. Hazards is kind of shitty. You got 2.
Oh yeah.
Stuff on.
They have
1 spiker, 1 hazard.
They have 2 setters, and 1 remover.
I think this is gonna be our first one. What's your thoughts?
I fully agree. This is really bad in terms of hazards. Granted, that's to be expected.
Yeah, I mean,
they did go random.
This is a random team, and that synergy. I mean, this literally team synergy looks like an absolute random team. Somehow you got lucky and you got a rain duo.
I think this is once again a 1. I don't even really need to look into detail about a lot of things. Just the fact that it's random really hurts that.
I mean, it's a random draft. I mean, we can't sit here. I mean, you got lucky enough with some of the offenses. I think the rest of the team, you can totally tell it's random. I mean, it kind of is what it is. You go for that draft, is what you get, you know.
This is an 11.5.
11.5 out of 30. Alrighty, moving on. Halfway, we got Error 404 by Aroma Nobody. Straight off.
This is not halfway.
7 out of 14. What you mean? Oh no, we got one more after this. Oh.
Yep, this is 6 out of 14.
Oh,
because we had a first slide.
This is gonna be a long video. I'll have to. If you've made it here, I'm gonna have to put it at the beginning of the video. I'll put the timestamps down below for you guys' teams if you want to go just directly looking at your team. Okay, let's look at Nobody's team. We got Screamtail Flygon. I love that Fairy Dragon core.
And then Fortress as their steal later.
Yeah, I'm a very good core there. A pseudo Sun team with your Victory Bell Vulpix, taking that Vulpix for the utility of getting Drought.
One of these teams does not have breaks in.
Yeah, I think I accidentally forgot to.
You probably forgot to remove it.
Teehee. Ignore breaks in. It's not there. But yeah, I mean overall, let's just go straight for offense. Let's go straight into offenses. I definitely think this is a very threatening Sun team. A very threatening Sun team. I mean, you got Screamtail with Photosynthesis. You got your Chlorophyll, Terra Victory Bell. You have your Heliolisk with Solar Power. I just think there's a lot of different things they will be able to do. I mean, you got your offensive...
the downside being that their center is Vulpix.
Yeah. Which, I mean, you lose them on, but again, if we're just going straight offense, I definitely think that's going to hurt the defense more than the offense. And then, I mean, you got your Flygon. I mean, I really like this team offensively.
This is definitely one of the better offensive teams we've seen, I think.
Yeah, I mean, you straight up have just threats after threats after threats. I mean, I feel that...
Just between Flygon and Heliolisk, I think those are a duo that's going to be really hard to handle.
Yeah, I mean, but then you can even go through, you can get Screamtail to set up Araquanid, Choice Band, Water Bubble, always does a friggin' shit ton. Hitmonlee with Burden down at the bottom. I mean, I definitely think this is going to be higher. I don't think this is quite a 5. I'm probably looking at more of a 4, but I could be convinced of a 4.5.
If we're ranking, we rank the random team as a 4. I feel like we gotta give us at least a 4-5.
I think it's 4.5. I like that. I'm down with that. Alright.
Good offense is really hard to get. I don't think we're gonna see any 5s in this. But...
Yeah. And then defensively, you have some really good, just straight up defensive mons. You got your Carbink and Fortress. Haunter Crow can go defensive sometimes. Or not, I meant to Araquanid. I don't know why I looked at Araquanid and said Haunter Crow. I think I was looking at it for the speed tier. but you got your Araquanid that's always just annoying to damn deal with. Houndstone with Fluffy. You got, I mean, we're not talking about Terras yet, but I mean, Terra, Houndstone with Fluffy. I mean,
very good.
Yeah, I just think this is a very good defensive team. You have your mixed defensive mons. You have your screen support that you can have that will really boost up your defense. I think this is more towards the upper end. I definitely think this is more than
100%.
I think this is above average. Definitely. What number?
I would fully agree to that. Really, Araquanid and Houndstone carry that pretty well. just between the two of them, then you add on a couple more, and you get like, oh, and also Hitmonlee has a really high special defense for some random reason. So like, this is at least a 4, I think.
I like 4 exactly. That's fine, buddy. All right, let's see. Utility, we got quite few momentum. We got
4 different.
Quite a lot Team Wave
momentum.
users. You got multiple Will-O-Wisp users, which again, one of those is going to be Vulpix. The other one is Braixen's not there. It's just Vulpix and Houndstone. Toxic, you got on damn everything. You got,
Screamtail gets Baton Pass too.
Yeah. I definitely I like the utility. I think it's
I think
right
the
above
utility is
average.
the best one we've seen so far.
Yeah, I think it's right above average. Utility 2.
I think it's.
4.
I'm just kind of going back. I think it's the best we've had so far, which means we have to be at least a 4.
I think we're gonna go right at 4. I don't think it has the Chicago White Sox we had at a 4. I think this team doesn't have the moves with Strength Sap and stuff like that, but I think with your screen support, in addition to having some of the quite a bit of momentum compared to the other teams so far, I quite like it. I think a solid 4 is fair. And then Terra Captains, I think this is my favorite Terra Captain pair.
I think this might be a 5 Terra Captain.
I was gonna say this is a 4.54 for me. 4.55 to me. Leading.
I'm just gonna once again look back at other ones because I gotta see. You ranked me at a 4-5 with Blossom and Hakamo. If this one's your favorite, this one's gotta be a 5.
I'm definitely down with that. Which actually, now looking at this, I might go back. You just ratted yourself out. I'm gonna change it to a 4.
Tragic.
Why'd you? It's all your fault. Yeah, I just love these 2 Terra Captains. I mean, these are going to be... You have no idea what's coming. Terra, Victory Bell, and the Sun is just so threatening. I mean, it's just...
They got an offensive one and a defensive one.
Yeah,
but it's also just reverse rolls, which is really good.
Yeah, I absolutely... I love these Terra Captains.
This is 100% a 5. No doubt in my mind.
Hazards, we got 1 of every single hazards. We got 4 different rock users. We got 2 spike users, 1 T-spike user. Obviously, you have Fortress. It's going to be that. You have 2 rapid
one of the best
spinners.
web setters in the game.
Yep, you got, I think, the best web setter in the game. You have 2 rapid spinners to cover 4 of those really good hazards. I think this is great hazards.
Honest, this might be another 5 in terms of hazards.
I was going to say, I don't see any weakness with it. We're going with a 5. I'm doing it. And then
synergy, we've kind of talked about this already, but the synergy is also just incredible.
Yeah, the
one downside
I'm gonna say right now, the only downside you're gonna have with synergy with this team is you have your Fortress on a Sun team.
And Araquanid, which gets nerfed
and then Araquanid, which gets nerfed by the Sun. But at the same time, I mean, both those mons are still good. Your type charge decent, except you have quite a
I'll even add that
weakness. And your
Araquanid also gets a switch into Fortress.
Yeah.
For fire moves.
Yeah, 100%. I definitely do think you got to have your obviously ignore the breaks in, but you have 3 weaknesses to ground, 2 immunities to ground. Rock is going to be decently hard for you. I think synergy wise, team comp wise, I love the team comp. I think the types, the overlapping weaknesses may hurt a bit. I think that knocks it down from a 4 to or from a 5. I think it's probably around a 4.
Once again, I think this is the best synergy team we've had so far.
Yeah, I definitely think it's... What's the highest one we've done so far?
The highest was a 2-5.
Yeah, I definitely think we sit this at a 4. We could definitely come back and change this to a 5 later on. I definitely think it's
Which would make this a... I think it might be easier just to subtract from 30. So that's like a 26.5.
Isn't it 26.5?
It should be, yes.
Alright,
this might be the best team that we discussed at all.
No, so far I definitely will put that in the equation for best team. So, alright, let's keep going. We got the Unga Bunga Nation, coached by
Cavi.
Cavi, the one, the only Cavi. Alright. Actually, give me a second. I'm gonna go grab a sandwich. I will right now apologize for the noise I'm about to make. We are very short on time to get this video out to you guys in time, and I am having to eat while we're doing this. So, Abyss will go ahead and get started with this team.
Yeah, so this is the halfway point. Just looking at this right off the bat, I actually quite like this team. Doesn't have anything crazy going on, but I just kind of like the Gallade, Rotom, Typhlosion, Mammoth Swine. There's a lot of really fun mons here that I like. We'll go straight into offense. This team is probably one of the better offensive teams we've seen so far. Rotom, Gallade, Tauros, Typhlosion, Mammoth Swine. Just a lot of really hard hitters in general. that being said, they are kind of lacking the speed department, but they also have a lot of really good Scarfers to kind of make up for that. Honestly, I'd probably rank this at a 4, maybe 4.5. It's no, I don't think it's as good. It might be as good as the Sun team.
I want to sit here and say I think the lack of, I mean, I think this team is going to be heavily relying on Typhlosion for the constant special attack threat. I think this team definitely
they got a good mix of both, I think.
It's really for special. You have your, I mean, Rotom and Typhlosion are your main offensive special attackers. I mean, obviously you got Vaporeon that's going to do decent damage, but obviously Vaporeon is more defensive.
Yeah, I mean, they have Mischievous too, which it's a Terra Cap. I have to consider it a little bit.
I don't think this is a 4.5. I'd totally be down for a 4.
I think we can do 4.
All right, defense.
This team, because of they're using a lot of Pokemon to hit that offense, that they lose a lot in terms of defense. Vaporeon, Tauros with Intimidate, and then Mega Audino are really their only defensive Pokemon. And Mega Audino losing out on Regenerator because it's Mega does hurt it quite a bit. I definitely below average, I'd say. Maybe 2, maybe 1, maybe even 1.5.
Yeah, I mean, I think this team is going to have the same mods be your constant defensive backbone. Mm-hmm. So I think it's going to be more easier to prep versus some of the other teams.
Mm-hmm. You just kind of had to offense them.
I mean, I don't think it's. I wouldn't go low as 1.5. I would probably say 2. So, I mean, you do have your Intimidate mods. You have multiple Wish Passers that can constantly.
I am going to fight you on that because they have 2 defensive Pokemon. Tauros just has Intimidate as an added bonus.
I'll surrender. I'll go 1.5. I'll go 1.5.
Look at utility. They got Flip Turn.
I will say with utility, you got double Wishmons with Vaporeon and Aldino.
True, Vaporeon. I guess Absol has it too, and Mega Audino. Absol, I believe Mega Audino, and I guess Vaporeon not running Baton Pass. But there's also they have a lot of Baton Passes on this team. Unfortunately, most of them are lower, like less good. They got so many statuses. 5 for Thunderwave and Will-O-Wisp, and then 8 for Toxic. They got a lot of knockoffers, they got a lot of taunters. So the lack of momentum does hurt this, but they kind of make up for it a little bit with just the with the other utility.
To me, this team looks like just like a slightly better JJ's in terms of utility, just because of the Wish Passers.
Oh yeah, wait. I guess you can classify that as utility. It's definitely
which we have JJ as 2.
I'd say it's at least average. I'd say it's at least a 3.
I was gonna say I was in between 2.5 and 3, but I guess the Rotom gets screens and shit too. I like 3. We can do 3 for the middle ground.
In terms of Terra Captains, Lycanroc's okay. It's not amazing. Mischievous also is not great. I might give the Terra Captains a 2. They don't, and they're both offensive Terra Captains as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think you always gotta look out for the Scarf No Guard, Stone Edges, Zoroark. I do definitely think that Lycanroc does not carry as much as some of the other Terra Captains did for trying to cover for Mischievous.
Yeah,
but I mean, it does have some funky sets where it can always run Eviolite with a defensive Terra and do like Calm Mind shenanigans.
Yeah, it can run Terra fairly well, but I wouldn't say it's amazing.
I think it's middle of the road. I don't think it's bad nor good.
Yeah. Because they have 2 like meh Terra Caps, I might say it's a 2.5. Just because you don't have any exception Terra Caps.
I won't argue with that on you.
I think their hazards are 1. They got 2 setters, both of them are more offensive, and they have 1 defogger.
We're not even gonna get into that. You got 2. You just lack hazards as it is, and you have 1 removal. So I mean, kind of.
And it's not even Rapid Spin. It's an offensive Pokemon with defog.
Yep.
In terms of synergy, I do like their synergy a lot more than some of the other teams that we've seen. Just looking at the types. The Fire, Water, Grass, Corn, Vaporeon, Rotom, Typhlosion, I think is one of the better cores we've seen.
100%.
And their type weaknesses. The only one I see that's actually kind of a problem is fighting, and I guess Fairy a little bit. I mean, fighting is going to be a big issue for them, but that's really the only one that I kind of see.
I think water's going to be a decent weakness for it as well.
Yeah, but water's also just not as offensive as a type as some of the other ones.
No, you're not
the other
wrong.
major ones.
You're not wrong. I'd probably put this at more of a... I think the Mon Synergy, again, I think this is another example of the Mon Synergy is better than the type chart says.
Yeah.
But I do think it's right below average. What's your thoughts? I think right at average
I think
or right
that's
below.
I'll give it average. I like their team synergy a lot.
Okay.
So that's 5.5, 8.5, 11, 12, 15. Nice, middle of the road.
15 out of 30. Which actually reminds me, I do out of 30 over here. Oh, yeah.
You did out of 30 in the previous one, yeah.
Okay. Alrighty, that's the Ooga Booga Nation. Next up, we have Minnie with the Unovan Melodies.
Yeah. Looking at their team off the bat, I do see that it is probably be a bit more defensive than all the other teams we've seen. Not a bad thing, of course. But we are going to get straight into the offense. This is definitely a more bulky offense team, I think. Our team's on the slower side. Really superior, and cycles are bad. I guess Mr. Mime also is on the faster side. But yeah, it's a bit more bulkier. They're bigger threats like Bisharp and Mega Camerupt. Even Clang to an extent.
Yeah, I agree. I think for the offensive, I definitely think there's more of a defensive typing. I think this team is more of a, I am, it's going to be easier for me to kill you than you to kill me. I think that's the best way I can describe this team. And then this has a bunch of good mons that can come in, take damage, get out. You bring in the offensive mon it needs to be able to really succeed.
Yeah, I mean that's a good team strategy, I'd say. Probably one of the better ones.
Though I will say, I mean, your only major offensive immediate threat is going to be Mega Camerupt, which.
Oh yeah, that thing hits so hard. It's like a 160 speed protection like that.
But again, I think the mons that do not require really setup that just immediately damages without help of items and stuff is gonna just be your Bisharp and Mega Camerupt. Superior, you're gonna need to do a little bit with.
Yeah.
I think this is right.
And Mr. Mime also needs a lot of setup as well.
Yeah, I think this is right in the middle of the road.
I'd say it maybe a little bit better because I'd say maybe a 3-5.
I won't argue. That's fine. I'll go with it.
Defensive.
Nuts.
They got Slowbro and
Nuts.
Pheasantipity. Those
This
two are
is
incredible.
nuts.
Yeah, just between Pheasantipity and Slowbro, that's kind of ridiculous. And then Tangela as well, and then Golbat.
I mean, even just all of the Eviolite mons on this team is just nuts. You have so many very good mons that are just gonna be able to wall everything. And I really love the defense here, especially.
I don't think it's anything like incredible, but I think it's very solid. I'd say maybe also a 3-5. Maybe a 3.
Yeah, if that's what you're thinking, I'll stick with 3.5. I was thinking a little bit higher, but I definitely think this isn't worth a 3.
I mean, I think a lot of the Pokemon that can take hits are also the offensive Pokemon. So it's kind of like they help each other. So it's kind of like it's almost the same thing, if that makes sense. Like their offense is their defense to an extent.
Fair enough.
Maybe I'm just spitting things.
Yeah, I think you're missing a little bit, but that's fine. I won't argue with 3.5. So, all right, let's move to utility.
Utility. They got 4 Pokemon that can pivot. They got Morgrem for screen support. They got a lot of Thunder Wavers, a lot of Toxics, a lot of Knockoff, a lot of Taunt. I think this is one of the better utility groups we've seen. It's at least on par with Nobody, who's a 4. Maybe even a little bit better. Although their Will-O-Whispers are lacking. So maybe...
I think it's better than Nobody's. I definitely think in 4.5. I think just looking at all of the knockoff users, the taunt users, and just how many mons they can status with T-Wave, which once you do that, half their team is going to be outspeeding everything.
And they also have an incredibly solid... they also have Morgrem.
Yeah.
Which is a Prankster mon. So I think we can give this 4.5 if not a 5.
I'm right at 4.5. I'm right with you there.
Okay. Terracaps,
me
this might
just
be
say-
another 5 Terracaps.
I was gonna say, let me just say, the last team had my favorite or not the last team. Sorry, the
That was the last
Victory Bell Houndstone had my
yeah.
favorite duo.
Pair.
This
Yeah.
I think is basically what these Terra Captains are gonna be. You have no idea what's coming.
A lot of options and they're all good.
Yeah, I think every single one of these Terra Captains has a niche that they can very easily produce with good success.
They got a good mix of offensive ones and defensive ones as well. This might be another 5.
I think I would knock it down to a, I think I would knock it down to a 4.5, and the only reason I'm saying that is just you're missing that immediate super offensive,
That's fair.
Terra Captain. So I'd
The
probably
closest is Mr. Mime, but
yeah. So I think
it's only a 90 special attack.
Yeah, I think a 4.5 is sitting pretty with it.
Hazards, they don't really have a great setter. It's Camerupt and Bisharp.
Yeah, their
And then
settings,
their removal is great.
yeah, the removal is great. Their setting is average. I'd probably say this. Let me see. How much does that carry though? You have Rapid Spin with Mr. Mime. Why the heck does Rapid Spin? I didn't know Mr. Mime got Rapid Spin. Huh.
Yeah, it can.
Yeah, then you have Cyclozar, which is one of your top tier.
It's probably the best rapid spinner in the game,
Yeah,
frankly.
if not one of the best. Yeah. So
It's definitely in low tier, if not the game as a whole.
yeah, I think 3.5 is pretty solid for this. I think I think the removal carries some of the.
I might knock it down to a 3 just because they don't have a great
Yeah,
setter.
I'm fine with that. Let's go for that. All right, then Synergy. I think Synergy is pretty nuts with this team.
This is kind of another team that I feel like we have to kind of ignore the type chart
Exactly.
as well. Because we've kind of talked about this, the offense helps the defense and vice versa.
Yeah, I mean, we will have to sit here and knock it down a little bit because I mean, the overlapping typings are quite massive. I mean, with the double poison weaknesses, you got three psychic types. You have 2 steel types, 2 dark types, 2 grass types.
Yeah, but also, like, a lot of them are Terra Cap. A lot of the overlap is in Terra Cap.
No, 100%. But still, some of those games you have to bring them as their standard mon, so you have to put that into
Yeah,
equation
that's true.
sometimes. I think this is a little above. I wish the type chart was a little bit better and there was more of a type diversity.
But I do think they have really good synergy overall.
Exactly. So I'd probably set this at a 3.54. I don't know how much we want to deduct to the type chart.
The fact that they have 5 fire weaknesses, I think knocks it down to a 3.
To a 3 or 3.5?
You said you're thinking with 3 or 4. I'd say I'd make it a 3 because of that.
I like that. All right, and then what we got for the overall?
12, 13, plus 9, that's 22.
22 already.
That's one of the best ones we've seen so far,
Yep,
for sure.
Alright, moving on. We got the Dallas Starmies.
This is coached by Austin Forge.
Yep, which missed the first little bit, came back and drafted a pretty nuts top 4.
100%.
I'm going to start by saying let's just dive right into this. I absolutely love his offense. Our Manatan is just always going to go nuts. You got Luxray, which is there, that always does very good with Intimidate. Being able to Intimidate, setup, or just do straight guts. You have your Inteleon. I really love the offense of this team. You got your Mega Absol. The only thing I would say that's maybe lacking is your immediate special attack threat besides Executor. Like, you're missing that fast. Oh, no, you got Inteleon. What am I doing?
Inteleon and Mega Absol.
Yeah, no, yeah. I love the offense here. I love the offense here. This just screams, I'm gonna freaking come at you, guns blazing.
And, like, even Golurk, it's such a hard hitter. If you don't have the right Pokemon in, when it comes in, then you're probably stacking something.
Yeah, I definitely think the offense is what this team screams. I think this is a solid 4, if not 4.5.
I might even give it I'll give it a 4.5. I think it's very strong offensively.
And then defensive, obviously, we are super strong offensively. I do think we definitely have some weaknesses.
Struggles a little bit more defensively. It's like Gligar and Uxie are really the only ones.
Yeah, I mean, you got your Leyron in the back. That's pretty defensive. That's usually very.
And then
good.
also, I will say, Executor can also just live forever.
Yeah, with Harvest.
If you're unlucky, or I guess if you're lucky in this case. So that's 3. The defensive core also just isn't great.
I think this is just below average for me. This is either a 2, 2.5 in.
I give it a 2.
Utility, we have.
Utility, they have so many U-turn Pokemon. Oh my gosh.
I think this is going to be the by far best utility on this team. I mean, we got screen support, you got wish pass, you got.
I think this is a 5 utility.
Yeah, I don't even think there needs to be discussion. This is totally 5. I mean, you have everything you want and more in terms of.
They got plentiful of everything they need. They got Togetic as a wish passer.
100%.
Yuxi as a screen setter.
100%. Yeah, it even gets Yawn to just be annoying. Yep, no, 100%.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, jumping into Terra Captains.
Terra
We
Captains.
have Luxray, Guts, Facade, Terra Normals, Nuts. You got Layron that we can do Eviolite, Terra Fighting Body Press. You got Butterfree with Quiver Dance setup, plus with Compound Eyes can hit some Sleep Powders just to start setting up right in front of something. I really love these Terra Captains. I think this is probably right up there.
I don't think it's as strong as some of the other ones we've seen.
No, I think...
I definitely don't think it's as strong as not Cabbies. It was Nobody's.
Yeah,
with the Victory Bell and Houndstone.
No, I don't think so either. I think this is probably right at the same. I definitely think this is one of if this was my team, I would love my Terra Captains. I do think that's more of a play style standpoint. Then obviously you got Sui and Zoroark. I definitely think this is
Zoroark's kind of just there.
Yeah, I definitely think this is more of a 4. This would be a 4.5 for me.
I think I'm thinking a little bit towards 4.
Okay.
I'm
down for that.
Hazards. We got 4 Stealth Rock Setters, and then Gligar gets Spikes and Toxic Spikes as well. We got I am gonna say having no Rapid Gligar is going to dock that a little bit.
I mean, I'm gonna straight up say you have no removal. You have Gligar. I mean, your only other removal is gonna be Butterfree and friggin' Togetic, which I don't even know what Togetic is
and Gligar
here,
really.
Yeah, I don't know. Togetic is defensive. I mean, it could be a decent remover, I suppose.
Oh yeah, it's like a remove with.
Yeah, I definitely think the hazards are good. Your removal is just. I think this is one of the lower end of the removals. I definitely think this is gonna. I think it's gonna end up.
They have great setters. They're just the lack of rapid spin.
Yeah, I think this is gonna put it just either right at average or just below average.
I think I'd give him a 2.5. Just because of the Gligar with no rapid spinner.
Totally agree. Alright, and then synergy-wise, I love the synergy on this team. The only negative thing I have of this is it does have a very glaring weakness shares of a lot of its mons that I feel like really hinders it. And I think it's not that it shares the same weaknesses, but the mons that share the weakness is kind of big, especially having your Gligar, Golurk, both being ground types. Your Darmanitan, you got water that is going to hit this team pretty hard. Obviously,
it's also not a bulky water.
Yeah, I think this is. I think I can be convinced. I think this is right at average, if not a little bit below.
I think that's very fair. Average.
All right, what we got?
That's a 6.5, 11.5, 14, 15.5, 18, 21.
21 out of 30. All right, let's keep speeding through these. Next up, we got the Blue Phoenixes.
Coached by Synex.
Which basically we picked, which we did kind of pick wrong, haha. But we picked the top mons of the team, and then he came back in post draft. He came back and filled out the rest of his team.
He kind of worked with me personally on this, but
does that mean you're gonna be biased? Huh?
I really like the Arboliva in general. Arboliva is such a fun Pokemon. Even low tier, you can't Terra, of course, but like. It's fun.
100%. 100%.
And also Tinkaton sorry.
No, go ahead.
And Tinkaton also just one of those Pokemon that just really works on every team.
100%. I love the turn 1 Tinkaton. I love the turn 1 Tinkaton. And I think this is probably my favorite Fire, Water, Grass core. The only hindrance it has is you got Blaziken as your Fire type, which is obviously more offensive. So I can't even sit here and deduct it from not being.
This is definitely a balanced team, just looking at this.
Oh, no, 100%. Let's get into these categories, though. Offensively, I mean, I don't know what I don't love. I mean, offensively, the only mon that's really not going to be... I mean, I can make a case that every single one of these mons are a threat offensively, except for Vulpix. Obviously, Tinkaton is support, but I mean, Tinkaton technically...
You can run an offense.
Yeah, you could always do Sword Stance, Tinkaton. I mean, it's...
I've done like, even just straight Gigaton Hammer, just rip one off. I haven't even run Sword Stance.
Yeah, 100%.
Arboliva is good, bulky. It's kind of like a stall Pokemon. It's kind of how it functions, but like, it hits hard.
I really like the offense. I could easily say this is a bit above average. I'd probably put this at a.
Honestly, I might say it is average for no other reason than like they don't have any like there's no Pokemon you look at and like that's a good offensive Pokemon. They don't have anything that's incredible, but I think because everything has offensive, I think it puts it like right at a 3.
I'd argue for a 3.5 just because everything can be offensively, and the fact that
Yeah,
you don't
I
know
can
what's
accept the
coming
3.5.
is. All right, and then defense is very, very, very good. You got your defensive staples. You got your Avalugg. I guess the only thing you can sit here and deduct is Arboliva is your only special, or no, I mean Mesprit is specially defensive as well, and you got your damn Tinkaton. I really like this team defensively.
Yeah, I'd agree to that as well. I don't think once again I don't think there's anything incredible going on. Just a lot of average with a couple exceptional Pokemon. Once again, I might even say a 3.5.
I would put it at a 4 just because the amount of mons you have, and you have multiple mons that could be your special defensive check. You have multiple mons that could be your physical defensive check.
Yeah.
And then you have your technically, obviously, a level Vulpix gets your. Obviously, this is gonna be utility as well. But
Oh yes, great. I forgot about Roarveil Vulpix.
I'd do an argument for 4 here.
I can agree with that.
Right. And then utility.
Utility. They got 4 Pokemon that can pivot. They got a good amount of T-Wavers and Will-O-Whispers. They got a lot of knockoffers, not a lot of Thunder, not a lot of Taunt.
The taunt is gonna hurt it a little bit. I definitely think this is above average. I do think the lack of taunts and then your Will-O-Whispers are both very offensive mons. Is gonna hurt you a bit. I'd put this probably. I think this is slightly above average in terms of utility. I'll probably put it around 3.5, maybe even could be convinced.
I might put it at a 3. I think comparing to the other teams that we've kind of put higher, I don't think it's as good as some of those other teams. I don't really have one off the top of my head.
No, I'll do 3 because I mean you only have 4 mons being your. Yeah, I'll put 3. Okay, I'll stick with 3. I like that. And then your Terra
Captains. I mean, it's really only Avalugg.
Yeah.
That's gonna be used. With that being said, Avalugg's biggest weakness is its typing. So being able to change that to like water or fighting, or fairy.
Yeah. Plus you get Ice Body in the snow with Vulpix.
Yeah. I'd put this probably at a 3 as well. I think. Avalugg does a lot of heavy lifting here, but it's like a solely defensive Pokemon.
I mean, the only thing I would say is, I mean, you have Gabite that technically could come. That could be a fun Dragon Dance set 1 week. Vulpix is a niche pick.
I don't know if Gabite gets Dragon Dance.
I know it gets Sword Dance. No, it doesn't get Dragon Dance. It gets Sword Dance. It gets Sword Dance Skill Shot. Sorry.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, Gabite has options, but I think
Gabite is more straight up offensive, if it ever does.
I think 3.
I think 3.
I've tried running Gabite in low tier before, and I never brought it.
I think it's a 3.5. If you're leaning more so 3,
I'm leaning towards 3.
I'm fine for that.
I feel like it's almost always gonna be Avalugg.
I'm fine for that. And then Hazard, you have a lot of Rock Setters. You got T-Spike Setter with Haunter.
Unfortunately, T-Spike Setter is Haunter.
Which I mean, stash T-Spikes if you really wanted that badly. It's got.
And they got 1 Rapid Spinner, 1 Defogger. Unfortunately, their Defogger is Blaziken, and Avalugg does not love being the only Rapid Spinner. That being said, they have a lot of Rock Setters.
Yeah, I mean, I think the diversity is what this lacks, and then the removal is gonna hurt it. I definitely think this is middle of the road, if not just below.
I might say just below.
2.5.
I might say 2.5.
And then Synergy.
I do love this team Synergy.
100%.
I think this might be my favorite team synergistic. I don't know. You get the idea. But my favorite one so far. Blaziken, Swampert, Arboliva, incredible Fire, Water, Grass core, I think. Tinkaton adds a lot of glue to just about every team. They have Avalugg and Vulpix as just making Avalugg even bulkier with Ice Body. Kilowattrel also is another Pokemon kind of just ties a lot of teams together, especially with Tinkaton. Overall, I might give this a 5 in terms of synergy.
I don't think going that high. I do think you do have your decently high fire weakness, and I mean your fire.
I mean, they have 4 fire weaknesses and 3 switch-ins. And one of their fire weaknesses is a Terra Cap.
What is your switch-ins? Your only fire switch-ins is going to be Blaziken, Swampert, and I mean, is Gabite seriously?
Also, Avalugg being weak to fire, but it also can Terra to water to solve that problem.
I mean, yes, but at the same time, anything special is still.
Yeah, I guess it does have like a 54. Is it 54?
I mean,
46.
your fire type being so squishy, get bite. I mean, it's damn squishy. Swampert. I think Swampert is really realistically your only big fire resist.
I guess yeah. There's that.
Fighting hits this team rather hard. I mean, the only immunity is Haunter. Everything else gets hit. I mean, Mesprit and Kilowattrel is going to be your only fighting. I think.
Yeah. This one I can say Avalugg is once again Terra Cap and solve that problem a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I would.
I think you have convinced me. I don't think it's a 5. But,
I think it's sitting around a 4. I don't think I can be convinced to go 4.5. I think it's a 4. I think it's right out of 4. I think I like the team together wise and like pairs, but the fact once you start putting them all together, I feel like you do have a little bit of holes that yes are gonna be that some of them can be solved by your Terra Avalugg, but again, I do think that's gonna bring it down. That has.
No, I do think you're right. Now that you've convinced me, I think it is a 4.
All right, what are we sitting at?
All right, so. 20, is that 22? Did I do that right? I guess this is a very average. It's like there's a lot of averages here. 1, 2, 4 is 12. So, yeah. 20.
Right on 20. Alright, let's pick this up. Let's get through the rest of these. We got Matsu with the Pittsburg double shocks. Let's just straight up. Let's just go through this. We're gonna bust this shit out. Let's just straight up say offensively. This shit's nuts. I love this team offensively. I really do. Your Star Raptor low kicks. You got Moltres. You got Raichu. I mean, the only thing you could say is the lack of maybe special attack. But I mean,
Moltres and Raichu. Moltres also like to run defensive a lot of weeks.
Yeah, but I mean, this just opens up more offense. I don't think this is a 5.
No.
But I mean, I just think your top 2, in addition to just the flexibility of going offensive with some of the other mons, I think this is around a 4 for me. I definitely think this is above average.
I don't know if I'd go that high. I might say 3.5, but I definitely agree above average.
Okay, I'll go 3.5. That's fine. Defensively, now I really love this team defensively.
Their team is insane defensively.
The pairings
Appleton,
with some of
Moltres,
these mons.
Tentacruel, Darkspun.
Yeah, they
Avalugg.
Yeah, we're gonna get a synergy. I love this team defensively, and the fact that you have so many ways to recover.
And they also have a super good defensive Fire Water Grass core.
100%. I really.
I'd give this at least a 4 personally.
I would even be convinced to go 4.5, but I think some of the reasons some of the reasons for the defense I will say is more so utility based. But I think at 4.
They also do have Darkspun as a Wish Passer.
Yeah.
Well, add that. I think it's a solid 4.5. I can agree with that.
Utility.
They got 5 pivot Pokemon. Okay amount of status Pokemon. Moltres having Flame Body does help with the Will-O-Wisping in the lacking a little bit in terms of knockoff and taunt. I don't think Low Kicks ever runs taunt, so they might as well not have a taunt user.
Fair enough. Definitely fair enough. I definitely think this. Let's just straight up say I think this is definitely above average. I think it's probably right at the line where it's just above average. I'd probably sit like 3.54 to me personally, just because I mean you have.
I would go towards the lower end. I mean, technically 3 is above average.
I mean, 3 is
out of 5.
average. Oh no, I guess yeah.
Yeah.
No, I guess yeah. Yeah, I think I'll be down for a 3.5. That's fine. I'm fair for that. Terra Captains, you have Avalugg, which is again is technically standard Avalugg, but it's gonna be more offensive.
Yeah.
You got I don't know.
It has the same defense stat, and I think it just hits a little bit harder. Let me check.
Yeah, I think it has more
it
attack.
has more attack.
Yeah, it has more attack, and then I think it's either less special defense or less HP.
It also does have strong jaw.
Yeah, so there's definitely gonna be more offensive. So this is a more offensive Avalugg, and then you have your Lunatone, which I don't.
Unfortunately,
really know what
Lunatone is just not good.
Yeah, so I definitely do think Avalugg does do some decent carry. Let me see what did
I don't think it's as good as the previous one. We put them at a 3.
I would either say right at 3 or I just don't know what Lunatone does. So
I'd go lower. I might even go to a 2.
Let's be in the middle, 2.5.
All right. Hazards. What do you wait? Avalugg does not get Hazard Stealth Rock?
I guess not.
Whack. They got. I don't love their hazards. It's real. In my mind, it's really only Tentacruel. Stunfisk and Lunatone aren't gonna come a lot of weeks. And then they have good removal. They're good in terms of removal. It's just that their setting is basically non-existent.
Yeah, but the fact that you have decent setting, and then you have your removers are very good, and you can run different mons removal for that week. I'd probably put this probably right at average. I think 2.5 to 3 is the range I'm just thinking immediately.
No, I'd put them below average just because they don't have good setters.
So what's that at? You thinking 2? 2? I'm down for
2 at the
2.5.
highest.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Well, when you having code hazards, you really think that like being able to set them would be a big part of it. Yeah, they have good removal. They have 2 very good rapid spinners, and then Moltres obviously good defogger, but like they can't set them very well. It's really
I'm down for 2. You can convince me. That's fine. And then synergy-wise, I like this team.
I do like this team synergy-wise. I talked about their Fire Water Grass core. That's a really good Fire Water Grass core.
Yeah, I really like this team. I really like the amount
now,
of monsters
in
you
terms
have.
of weaknesses, the type chart, they have a major rock weakness.
That they do. You are not wrong about that. It's rocks and water is going to hinder them. But again, you have a very good defensive mod with Tentacruel.
Tentacle and Abaton
both
basically cover the water.
Exactly, and then both your your other water weakness mons are Lunatone and Avalugg, which are both your Terra Captains. But I definitely think the rock weakness is...
And then it's also Stunfisk, which is rarely going to come.
Yeah, I definitely think the rock weakness is going to be the worst thing for it. I think...
Which is why their removal does help with that a lot.
Yeah, I think pairing-wise, this team is really good. I'd sit this around somewhere around a 4, I think.
I can agree to that. I think it's a very solid 4.
Alright, what you got overall?
And that puts it at a 8, 11.5, 12, 14, plus 6, that's 20.
Right at 20. Out of 30. All right, we're down to our last 3. We got the Johners because we don't have a team name for Magikarp.
We don't. Well, they don't even have a team name in yet, so they're just the Johners until further notice.
Exactly. That's it. I'm gonna. This guy's gonna be the new Johnner of the div. I'm gonna do it. Just for
Give them both.
But yeah, let's just look. I mean, I think this is a really fun team. This is definitely a very fun snow team.
Yeah. I don't really see anything super glaring like that speaks to me.
Yeah, I mean, I just think this is a fun snow team and that just has strong mons around them. So let's dive into.
Actually, no. Look at this. This is a very offensive team.
Yeah, I was just about to say let's go into the offensive wise. I think this team is just a nuke. This team is I'm gonna nuke you before you nuke me. The only defensive mon that you can sit here and talk about is Vileplume. Everything else is just out here, is not going to take hits. It's gonna, I mean, Arctivish is decently defensive as well, which with a decent typing.
I have seen bulk up sets on it.
Yeah, but it's definitely I'm gonna hit you before you hit me, and I am going to try to run you over before you have a chance to attack back.
I mean, I guess Talonflame is also kind of supportive, but like I'd say this is a 5 offensively.
I think I'm right with you. I think
they went all out in offense. Giving them anything less would be...
let's go straight into defense. I think a 1 or 1.5 is its defense. How much does Vileplume and Arctivish carry?
Part of me wants to say 0.5.
All right, we're going with 1. I know where you're down. So let's just go 1. I definitely do think Vileplume being a Terra Captain is going to help it, and some of the stuff that it gets.
Oh my gosh. Utility, they have almost nothing on the...
Yeah.
It's really... This might also be another 1.
Yeah.
Maybe a 1.5.
Yeah. Personally, I have like really nothing to really say about this. The lack of
there's not really a lot to say.
The lack of utility is like making me speechless. I'll sit it at a 1 as well. I'm right there for it. Again, it's not a team that's don't
nope, that's not the right number.
It's definitely not its offense. This is a straight up offensive team. This does not have defense and it does not have utility. It kind of is what it is. That's what this team is built around.
Yep. Terra Captain's also kind of lacking.
I love Vileplume as a defensive Terra Captain. I would love if it was in the sun. Doug Trio is definitely going to be a basically probably just offensive, and it wouldn't surprise me if it just goes offensive ground, just earthquake and damage.
I might even see it running Terra Stellar a lot of weeks.
Yeah, so I think it's you got a defensive Terra Captain, you got an offensive Terra Captain. Vileplume is very good defensively.
I would say either of them are incredible. I might give it a 3.
I would sit there to argue for the 3.5 because I think Vileplume is very good defensively with Strength Sap, with the
Oh right, I forgot to get Strength Sap. Yeah, that's a 3/5.
I like 3/5.
I definitely got swept by a Strength Sap Vileplume once. It was not fun.
And then we have hazards. Yeah.
What hazards?
Yeah. Would you be down to put the first 0.5 on the day?
Yeah.
Let's get it.
Synergy. I'll give them points for synergy. I don't think there's a ton. They got 3 snow Pokemon.
Yeah.
And then there's not.
I think this is a decent 2. I think it's just you have your snow core, which makes it nothing, or it doesn't make it nothing. So I think this is probably where it's at. I think a decent 2.
I can agree with 2.
All right, what we got in total?
6, 7, 10.5, 11, 13.
13 now.
I think that's our lowest one today.
All right, we'll be moving on in 1 second. And moving on, we got our 9 guys, 1 Zoroark.
No, we are on Starry Jigglypuffs, I believe.
Oh, did I skip? Oh, I did skip. Gosh dang it, look at that. You know, it's not like we're recording this late at night, haha. Alrighty, let's see. We got a turn 1. Oh, who's the coach for this? This is,
This is Jim the Mate.
Jim the Mate, that's right. His first draft league, so let's see how his first ever draft went. First things first, I'm gonna point out he only has 1 Terra Captain, which he had points for.
True.
He had points to get other.
That being said, Scented Scorch is an incredible Terra Captain.
He really is. I'm kind of curious on why he. Huh. All right. But he went.
Maybe he meant to get Lapras, and we just didn't put it in.
I double checked. Oh, turn 1 Mousehold. I love Mousehold. Mimikyu is always fun. More Pekko's interesting.
Hey, bonus points for having League Mascot.
Oh, 100%. 100%. Totally not bribe getting a +5 at the end just for having Mimikyu. I mean, decent Fire, Water, Grass core.
It's such a
So
Scorch
Lapras has Ice, so I mean it's.
And Decidueye. I believe that Jim the Mate's used to VGC. I don't know if that's necessarily true, but I believe he mentioned Decidueye because he played VGC.
Yeah. So, I don't know, but let's go into the details and we'll see how he's actually looking. Alright, so for offense, you've got Mousehold, which just Mousehold things. Mimikyu's is always threatening. And then, I mean, besides that, you got, Mimikyu's always threatening. You have Cinescourge, which is Cinescourge, Lucario. I mean, I don't see anything that's, like, super jumping out at me, and I don't see, like, a really big 1-2 combo that's just gonna go.
I guess that Wug Trio, but everything else on their team is kind of slow.
Yeah.
I guess Mousehold, but, like...
Ribombee, I mean, they do have web support, but we'll get into that.
Yeah.
But,
that is true. And they got good Scarfer, and Lucario's a good Scarfer.
I mean, definitely a decent offense. I don't think I wouldn't write home about it. I do think it's pretty decent though. I'd put it probably middle of the road. It's
respectable. I don't think it's anything crazy. Shedinja's there. It kind of just exists.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's probably right in the middle, maybe a 2.5. What's your thoughts?
I might give it a 2.
Okay. Defense.
Yeah, once again, just nothing really crazy. It's a lot of setup sweepers, I think. That being the big issue.
Yeah. All right, then defensive.
I mean, obviously, Zombie can also kind of go crazy with Quiver Dance. But it's hard to set up.
Yep. And defensive wise, I mean, you got Mimikyu, which is always a good defensive mod.
Scented Scorch is a very good defensive Terra Poke.
Yeah, Lapras is
Terra
bulky.
Steel just goes crazy.
Yeah, Lapras is bulky Lapras. I
Mhm.
mean, besides that, I think there's. I think it's almost the same story as their offense. It's not that much to write about. I mean, you have your Center Scorch and Mimikyu to an extent.
Yeah, but they're also both a little bit more offensive Pokemon at the same time.
Yeah, absolutely agree. I mean, I'm probably thinking right at the same as offense.
I might get a little bit lower just because they have less defensive Pokemon. Most of the teams.
I can feel that. I feel that. You convinced me. 1.5.
Yep.
And then utility-wise,
they got a good amount of pivoting.
Yeah, decent amount of pivoting. You got multiple T-Wave users, multiple Will-O-Wisp users.
Everything else is pretty good, I'd say.
You got Toxic. Yeah, I guess the momentum's the lacking.
That being said, like all of those are more Peko. In just about every category by itself.
More Peko's more Peko, though.
Yeah, I do like a good more Peko.
So I mean, I definitely think I'd probably put this right at the middle, if not maybe. I think this is just calling middle of the road to me.
Yeah, 2.5 seems fair.
And then Terra Captains. I mean, Cinescourge is the only.
We already discussed. Yeah, I mean, I hope maybe at some point they'll add Lapras because they should be able to.
I think let's just. I think it's fair. I love Cinescorch, but the fact that you only got one Terra Captain is going to hinder you. I think we just do 3 based.
I mean,
on
it's
the
a
fact
good
that
Terra Captain.
Cinescorch is a good Terra
Captain.
Captain. I do think we do have to subtract the fact that there's not a second one, so I'd probably say a 3 is fair.
Yeah.
Hazards, you have Cloth, you have
And Rabambi.
yeah, so like no setting.
Oh, they have acceptable removal. I'd
decent
say.
removal.
The downside being Morpeko has the one downside I'm seeing with this is that Morpeko has to fill a lot of the supports.
Yeah, that's a very fair assumption. So I'll probably say
That's more of a synergy comment than a hazard comment.
What do you think? We got to subtract hard for the fact that he has no setting. I mean, you got sticky webs and 1 rocker, but I mean,
What was the other team that was kind of in the same boat? It was Matsu's team. We gave Matsu a 2. I think it's kind of the same boat.
Oh, 2 as well. I'm fair for that. All right, and then synergy. That I think is really lacking in this team. I think that's the.
I fully agree. I mean, that's to be expected. It's their first draft. Like I said, Morpeko has to put in a lot of heavy work in terms of support. It's got to be the spinner. It's got to be the pivoter. It's got to be the knockoff and the taunter. It's got to be the thunder waver. It just has a lot of things to do.
Yeah, so I think that's the biggest downside of this team. I think this is I think this is worse than its defense. I'd probably put it at like a 1. Or do you think that's too hard? Should we tie it with its defense?
Look, it also has some pretty major type.
Yeah.
Fire, rock, fighting.
You got your offensive fire types, your offensive fighting types, and your offensive fairy types is just gonna tear this team apart.
Yeah.
And Terra Squitch is not gonna be enough to cover for all that.
Yeah, it can only help so much.
Down for a 1?
Yeah. Is this better than the random team in terms of synergy? I don't think so.
What did we do for random team?
They had a 1 as well.
You don't think this is as bad?
I think this is at least as bad. I don't think it's better.
I will say technically the random team did have at least a semi-ranked team.
Yeah, but that was just kind of the only thing.
Yeah, I just feel like this has just no synergy whatsoever. There's not those like that pair of mons that you're like, yeah, I can see why you got those. It's just like
also I also just if they don't have a grounded poison either.
Yeah, so I mean, what you thinking? Give me a number.
Their entire team is weak to toxic spikes.
So what you think? Give me a number.
I think in terms of synergy is 1, but I'm thinking about toxic spikes. I might deduct 1 point from utility for the lack of a way to handle toxic. Because it's only Lucario that resists. That isn't affected by it.
That's fine. We can do that. So we got 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.5.
Frankly, that's to be kind of expected.
Yeah, I think with some transactions, he had some really good mons. I feel like with just a transaction here, there, this team could really.
I absolutely think he has a lot of good Pokemon. I just think he needs ways to time them together more.
Correct. Alrighty, let's jump into the last team.
Final team.
9 guys, 1 Zoroark.
Coached by Gecko.
So I can say right now, I love the top 2 picks. Pairing Weezing and Duraludon is. Those 2 are perfect cover for.
That is a defensive core, not be trifled.
That is a crazy top 2 that is going to come every single week. That is going to put in work every single week. Partner that with an amazing Terra Captain with Frostmoth.
Frankly, one that we went very much back and forth on whether or not it should be even allowed to terrestrialize.
Yeah, so definitely top of the top few for that. So that's
yeah, and then they also have the Zoroark Hisui.
Exactly.
But they drafted pretty late.
Yeah, so let's go into some details here. So we have offensive. I mean, you have a Quiver Dance Frostmoth. You have Zoroark.
A Quiver Dance Oricorio.
You got Quiver Dance Oricorio. You got never trifle with a Specs Duraludon.
Oh yeah.
Weezing can do some surprising damage. Bruce Bonnet. I mean, I don't think there's the immediate. I mean, I think the only like really immediate threats are Zoroark and Brute Bonnet Duraludon, so they have decent immediate threats, and then you also have multiple monsters that have very.
I think the
setup.
biggest downside with the immediate threats is that they're kind of on the slower side.
They are, except for Zoroark. So I think we knocked down some. So I definitely don't think it's a 5. I'm looking in the 4 range. I could be convinced to go even a little.
I think 4 is fair because you have 2 very good Quiver Dancers.
Yeah,
Especially with Orc Warrior, could be any type you want.
Yeah, I was thinking 4, 4.5, so I'm totally fine going 4.
Yeah.
And then we got defensive.
Defense.
I love this team defensively. There's so many
Mhm.
monsters that just cover each other's weaknesses.
Just like between Geezing and Duraludon, that already is kind of insane. Claydol is an absolute menace in low tier, defensively. I mean, Colossal's there. It's not like amazing, but it's a good flash fire switch in for the Frostmoth on it as well.
Yep. The ice that hits Bruce Bonnet well, in addition to the ice, like you said.
I was just talking about in terms of flash fire.
Yeah, no, 100%. Yeah, but I really like this team defensively.
I really like the defensive side of this team as well. I honestly might say it's also a 4.
Yeah, you're speaking my mind. Alrighty, now we got utility. We got quite a few pivots. We
5.
have one knockoff user, being Zoroark, has to be a negative.
Yeah,
Decent
that's
taunt
unfortunate.
Users.
I mean, the lack of... I mean, Zoroark can run knockoff. It has a good enough attack stat. But you're never running knockoff unless you're running a physically offensive Zoroark.
Yeah, I mean,
So realistically, they don't really have... They have like 0.5 of a knockoff user.
Yeah, I think the biggest downside is you have your U-turn, but I mean from your pivoting mons, I mean you have your Choreo and your Frostmoth, which oftentimes you want to come out and not click U-turn. You know what I mean? You want to be.
I will
positioned
add
that
to the
first.
utility, Brute Bonnet does get Spore.
Yeah, that is true. Yes. But just looking at like momentum, you have 2 of your pivoting mons are your setup Quiver Dance users. You only got Duraludon for T-Wave, and you only have Zoroark. So I think this.
Yeah.
I think this
It's
is
one of the weaker utility ones for sure.
I think right in the middle is fair for me. Because it has its good parts with Spore and decent momentum.
Yes. I think Spore is what makes it a 2-5 for me. I think
Yeah, 100%. Alright,
Terra Captain, I feel like this is kind of the same boat as my team.
What did we do?
The Blossom and the Hakumoa.
Yeah, which we did 4.
Yeah.
I would just say, I think Prinplup... What does Prinplup even do if it had Eviolite?
It kind of just is bulky.
Yeah.
It's a bulky pivot.
Does get Toxic too. And technically does get Defog.
It does the same thing as Empoleon, just without the steel type.
Yeah, I think Prinplup is going to be probably more used than your Hakumo.
You're probably right.
I think it's in the same range, though. I still think it's probably still a 4, though.
Once again, I do think most of the time you're going to be bringing that Frostmoth, because
Yeah, I think
that
four,
thing's
I think
as
4,
good as Blossom, if not better.
So I think with Prinplup, so here's the question: his Prinplup, I feel, is going to be more impactful than your Hakumo. Okay, so the question is, how much better is Frostmoth than Blossom?
Well, I don't know if Prinplup's going to be useful as a Terra Captain. Prinplup's going to be coming more often. But not necessarily as Terra Captain.
That is true, but I guess, well, let's just say net neutral. Let's just say Prinplup and Hakumo is net neutral.
Yeah.
I feel like Frostmoth is better than Blossom.
It's as good, if not better.
So the question is, do we tie it?
I think,
or do
I know,
we
I
go
think it's a
1?
4-5 because I think that's because we had so much debate about whether or not it should be higher.
Yeah, fair enough.
We considered Terra banning Frostmoth,
Yeah.
like entirely.
Yeah, 100%.
We didn't consider that for Blossom.
Fair enough, yeah. Alright, for hazards, we got 4 Stealth Rockers, we got a Spiker and a Toxic Spike. And then for removal, we got 2 Rapid
We
Spinners.
got great removal
one
here.
being Claydol. Okay, so I think this is probably one of your best hazard teams.
Having Colossal and Claydol as your Rapid Spinners is really good because they can set and spin.
Exactly.
No, this is probably one of the better. I'd say this is one of, if not the best hazard team we've had.
I'm thinking of all the teams. This is the last team. I think this is a 5. I think this is the best hazard we have on.
I fully agree.
So I think in comparison, we just have to go 5. Either 5 or, because I don't even remember what was the other highest.
JJ's was high, and I think.
Because let me see, JJ's was a 4.5. I think this has to go 5. I think this has to go 5.
The one thing that nobody who also had a 5 has, Gecko is they have webs. That's the only thing really.
Yeah, but I would say in comparison, I think, no, that is true. Does that knock it down to a 4.5? Oh, I think it's right up there.
Okay.
I think it's right up there with nobody's.
You know what? I'm gonna say it is a 4.5.
Okay.
Because their team would benefit more from this.
Fair enough. I like that. That's fine. And now synergy. The only thing I gotta say is holy rocks.
I think they have good synergy. Why is every team weak to rocks? I'm pretty sure like every single team that we've seen today has been either weak to rocks or neutral. I don't think we've had any teams that have a good.
Well, I mean, that is this. This is low tier, and also B. Your only things that resist rocks is ground and
yeah, there aren't a lot of rocks
and steel. So it's like
it's fighting ground steel.
Yeah, so it's like your fighting types are more offensively, and then your steel types there's only so much good steel types in low tier, and then
yeah, there's even less good steel types than there are fairy types.
Yeah, so I mean, the biggest weakness I see is the rock weakness. I mean, you have 3 mons that are quad weak to.
It does mean that Frostmoth basically has to run boots.
I mean, between Frostmoth, Orcorio, and Ninja, plus Colossal, one of your spinners. You have one spinner that's weak to rocks. The other spinner is resists. I think rocks is the biggest weakness for this team. So instantly,
this team 100% struggles with rocks.
Yeah, I think that it has to knock it down like a nice little chunk. Just because it's not weak, it's threatening. Having 3 mons.
This team has incredible synergy if you ignore dirt.
Yeah, so I don't think I would think if we ignore the rock weakness, it's up there. Especially with some of the mons that pair, like you have multiple pairs that just function so well together. But you have the negative of, once you include that rock weakness, I feel like it brings it down to middle ground. Probably, I would say a little bit higher than middle ground. I'll probably say like a 3.5 in my.
I can go with 3.5. I think that's pretty fair.
All right, which gives us a total of
8, 10.5, 15, 19.5, 23.
23 out of 30. All right, now that we got all those teams numbered up, let's go ahead. Let's get a tier list. So let's get a visualization going, and let's go ahead and just see overall what each of these teams rack up against each other. Alrighty, we got our tier list made up. We got the tiers are as follow. We got our top 3. So they're going to be the top 3 scores for all the teams. We got playoff locks, which should be basically locks. Should be, if the coach plays right, they should be a guaranteed lock going into playoffs. We have mid-teams, so those are going to be teams that could honestly go either way. Most of those are going to be dependent on the coach. Playoff hopeful is going to be basically probably right below that mid tier, just trying to see if they can jump up. Maybe that would be coach difference is going to come from those. And then what is the tier for those that we have no idea what the heck you did. You might have cooked, and maybe you got to show us what teams can do, because we don't know what the hell they do. So we are starting off. What is our... Actually, let's just go. What score do we have? What's our... Do we want to go top or bottom, or bottom to top? I feel like we do bottom to top.
Let's just go in order of the logos that you have.
Fair enough. But it's going to get confusing when we're going through trying to lock them. Let's just start from one end and go to the other.
Okay.
I kind of like, let's start from the worst and make our way up. Yep. Let's build up.
All right. So the worst 2 teams, there was a tie between the Starry Jigglypuffs at 11.5 and Lavender and Gengars also at 11.
All right, which is our random team and our first timer. How do we want to position on the...
Based off of the numbers, Starry Jigglypuffs was a little bit more well-rounded than the
random team. It's the random team.
The random team. Yeah, the random team had one really good thing, but Lavender. But everything else was really not good.
Yeah. Alrighty, moving up. Let's see. Playoff hopeful. Let's try to get a few in here.
All right. So let's see. Let's go from what was close to. We have a 13. The Jonners.
Oh, go figure, Jonners.
And we have a 15 in Unga Bunga Nation.
Alrighty.
Really? The next lowest is a 19.
Which that's a pretty decent jump. Yeah, let's jump up to mid. I think once we hit around 19, I think that's a little bit better than the middle. So what we got?
All right, so let's go with our 19s. We got low tier trash.
Gotcha.
Twilight Defenders. Actually, did we bump that number down? Yeah, we did. Okay.
It would have been bumped down by half.
Yeah, you adjusted it. I think that number doesn't look right.
I don't think I think I just changed to 0.5. You lost 0.5.
Yeah, I know. I know because my brain ain't
braining.
Yeah. I'm pulling up the calculator for this.
Oh, jeez.
Okay, yeah, it's 19. Cool. We got another 19 with Northern Snipers.
Snipers.
Those are all the 19s.
Alrighty. So let's go ahead. Let's get another one or two in here because we'll have our top 3.
Let's see, how many 20s do we have?
We still
We have
have
at least one.
Yeah, we still have 1, 2, 3.
Blue
4,
Phoenix is at
5,
20.
6, 7.
And Pittsburg Double Shock is a 20.
I'll be fair. Which one do we like more?
They're right next to each other. They're really right around the same in terms of numbers.
Let me see. We have.
In fact, their offense and synergy are the same number between the two of them, and everything else only changes by 0.5.
Yeah, it's one has better Terra Captains, the other has better utility and defense.
They both have Avalug.
That is actually pretty.
They both have really good Firewater Grass cores too.
They do have very good.
We can just say they're even.
Yeah, we'll just keep them there.
I think that's all we want to do for the mid tier, probably.
Yeah. It's a shame because I would have liked to bump one of those up to playoff locks so we don't have almost half the league in mid, but I mean, all of those are within 2 points of each other, so I mean.
We have a 20.5 in the Chicago White Sox.
Alrighty.
That's the only 20.5. Do we have a 21? We do have a 21 in the Dallas Starmies.
10-4. So then that's our playoff locks.
Is that 14? 6 plus 5, that's 11. Yeah. So that the last 3 are
last 3 we have
in order.
We have Arrow 404.
In order, the lowest is the Unovan Melodies, 22.
Yep.
Then the 9 Guys 1 Zoroark at a 23.
No.
And the number 1 is the Arrow 404 at 26.5.
All right.
All right.
I like how this kind of ended up. I think we did.
There's still a lot in the
decent
middle
now
tier.
looking. Yeah, but I mean, all of those are within. They're so close together.
They're
I
within a
don't
point
think
of
we
each
can-
other.
Yeah, I don't think we can separate them. It kind of is one of those things. You have just so many. The fact that we also did 0.5s and the fact that we had so many of them all within one.
It's also like the average, like the average is where most of the teams should be.
Yeah, no, and I definitely like it. So we're basically saying the top 8 mons to make the playoffs are, we got our top 3, we got playoff locks, that's 5, and then 3 of those mid, and that's if we are going based off of just our numbers, which I mean, we have definitely like quite a few of these teams. I will say, even though we have some of these teams.
I do want to see some. I actually really want to see the Lavender Town Gengars make it to playoffs, just because they did draft a random team.
I just think so many of these teams have like 1 or 2 changes that can bump them up so much. And I think a lot of this is going to be, I think so many of these teams, I mean, because what do we have? I mean, let's kind of go, let's not look at the what tier, okay? Let's just look at everything else.
I mean, and also for those people in the what tier, I hope that the feedback that we've provided helps you update your teams as well.
No, I definitely hope so. And I mean, I think they're not far away. They have good concepts. Obviously, you have your random one. You have a new.
I definitely think that like because of how draft functions, anyone can make playoffs.
No, 100%.
It all really depends on the skill of the coach.
No, like I'm sitting here looking at Cavi with his team, and I mean, I think he can very easily go for a decent run. With
I remember
his
really
team
liking
if he's able to, if you're able to perform. But I mean, we have your playoff hopeful is between your playoff hopeful teams and your top 3 teams. Let's even get to your top 1. Your top tier is 26. You're barely over 10-point difference between playoff hopeful and your top mon or top team, you know. So there's definitely it's gonna be a tight season. I'm really excited to see how some of these teams shape up and what they're able to do this season.
There's a lot of cool teams I really liked here as well.
Yeah, I think even with every single, I would not be surprised. I think every single one of these teams, even the teams in the what tier, have a chance to make playoffs. They do. And it's not unrealistic. It just depends on how they play. And draft is not just. I mean, we could sit here and try to analyze all these teams, but it's all going to depend on how these coaches play and how they're able to perform week-on-week basis.
Yeah, and some of those teams that we kind of said were slower, maybe you guys play better with that than if you were to play a faster team.
Yeah, but I definitely think this is going to be a very exciting season, and we're going to keep going through, and we're going to be updating you guys weekly with these. Probably not the going into this much detail in terms of analyzing all the teams, but we'll definitely go through, watch some replays. We'll get through. So I'm really excited for the to go through some of this season. And I hope you all have just as much fun as we have being able to watch you guys perform and play your hearts out.
Yeah.
So, Abyssal, you want to say any parting words as we're gonna leave? We're gonna end this with the tier list showing.
Have fun, don't fall in. That is all.
And that is our fearless leader, guys. But definitely, from your mod, I definitely hope you guys try your best. I definitely wish everyone the best of luck. I will be rooting for every single one of you. And I hopefully...
Except me,
sorry.
of course.
Yeah, except for you. But I definitely am excited to watch you guys play this season, and I hope you guys enjoy and just try to have as much fun as you can. And we'll definitely...
Yeah, good luck to everyone.
We'll see you guys next week after the first weekend. We'll go over some recaps. So on behalf of me and the VDL team, we appreciate you guys playing, and we'll see you guys next week.